Coming up, we're following the latest developments on the plane crash off Grand Bahama. News you'll hear first on ZNS.
Latest on Bahamar's opening.
And later on, we've got highlights from Government League Basketball. The Bahamas tonight, the National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Breaking news tonight is one of the victims in yesterday's tragic plane crash has been identified.
Family members identified the man as Ormond Beach lawyer 65-year-old Michael Kennedy. Kennedy's brother Mark told the Daytona Beach News Journal that the downed plane was owned by AquaSun Investments, a travel service company offering Bahamas vacation packages. Kennedy is said to be the company's longtime lawyer and was en route to Freeport, where he has a second office. Kennedy's brother also told the newspaper that 3 other Daytona Beach area business executives were on board, including one who worked in the timeshare industry. There's been no official ID on any of the other 3 victims up to this point. Bahamian authorities say there were no survivors when the plane went down on its way to Grand Bahama International Airport near Freeport, and rescuers say they pulled 4 bodies from the water. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration first reported the twin-engine Cessna went missing around 11 a.m. Monday. Later reports indicated the plane crashed in waters about 6 miles from the airport. Investigations are still ongoing.
Debate is wrapped up on the 4 bills focused on constitutional amendments geared at addressing the end to gender discrimination along with citizenship issues.
Now, the next step is said to be that it'll be probably another week or so before a vote is taken on the compendium of referendum bills. Prime Minister Perry Christie brought the debate to a close during the evening session of the debate.
Now, our Pt.1 Swain fills us in on what's to be expected ahead of the November 6th poll.
Those 4 constitutional bills were committed for a second reading. However, 4th Charlotte Member of Parliament Andrew Rawlins, by standing, indicated his opposition to 3 of the bills. He was the sole Member of Parliament to do so. Mr. Christie said the bills will now move to committee, but for how long?
To be in a position at the earliest in 1 week's time to move the amendments, settle those amendments, have the bills then become ready for passage, 3rd reading, and to have the requisite number in the House of Assembly for that final vote.
A majority of 29 votes is needed for what Christie calls a defining vote, but he also outlined what the Constitutional Commission will be charged with next.
And where a national house-to-house campaign would be conducted, demonstrating the government's serious commitments, the seriousness of the government's commitment, where I would expect the church to lead in that campaign, Mr. Speaker, where the Constitutional Commission would lead in that campaign.
He also made it clear that he's not prepared to debate what happened in 2002, but he wants the bills to do what they're intended to, which can only happen if fully supported.
And the only way we are able to do it effectively, Mr. Speaker, is to launch a united campaign where, in the words of the leader of the opposition, that he and I should be seen together, espousing the same point of view, and even that our wives should be seen together, espousing the same point of view. That was the spirit of the offering of the leader of the opposition, and that was the spirit that I accepted. Because, Mr. Speaker, that is the spirit that will get the best result.
The Constitutional Commission plans to expand its educational campaign once the bills are finalized. Now, after those bills are passed in the House, they're expected to be debated in the Senate. Pt.1 Swain, ZNS Network News.
Member of Parliament for Mount Moriah, Arnold Forbes, noted his displeasure with what he called unnecessary talk surrounding the constitutional bills. He says members are losing sight of the overall objective of the bills, which is to establish equality among the sexes.
I would dare say 60 to 80% of all homes in this country, believe it or not, are run by women, single women. Single women. Why are we denying these women the right to equality under the Constitution? Why are we doing that when they are wearing both they wear the pants and the skirt in the house? Why are we denying them these rights? I can think of no reason why they should not have these rights if they're doing everything in most cases that men can do in the first place.
The sincerity and seriousness of the government to bring the constitutional referendum is being questioned by the Member of Parliament for Central Grand Bahama, Nico Grant. His sentiments expressed during the debate in the Parliament yesterday. While he says the opposition supports the constitutional amendments, the government doesn't need the opposition support. Mr. Grant says the government only requires 29 votes to pass the bill.
Nothing in the above provision speaks to having unanimity, which leaves the question, is the government really serious about this referendum? Particularly after the Minister of National Security was quoted in the Nassau Guardian, August 9, 2014 edition, if there's not unanimous support for the proposed constitutional amendments on gender equality, the government will not proceed with the November 6 referendum. He goes on further to say, whether we have a referendum or not, the Prime Minister has always said that we do not go to a referendum without agreement between parties concerned. Is the government now seeking a bailout? Are they looking for an excuse not to hold a referendum and blame the FNM? Where is the litmus test to determine whether the government is satisfied that unanimity vote is genuine?
BEC Chairman Leslie Miller says the blackouts early this morning came as a result of lightning strikes that knocked out engines at BEC's Clifton plant. Miller says he's hoping the engines are up and running by tonight, otherwise load shedding could continue. To help offset this problem, Miller says the corporation could resort to temporary power cuts to all commercial entities overnight, including government buildings, to ensure its residential customers have power.
Right now, Clifton this morning started to run at 120. It's now down to about 72 megawatts. Blue Hills right now is at 140-45. Our capacity for the night is expected to be 225 megawatts. We are short about 20 megawatts. We are hoping that number 9 at Clifton and number 12. Number 12 has a problem. The part isn't going to be flown into the Bahamas until tomorrow. If we can get number 9 back up tonight, I think number 9 is a 30 megawatt engine. If we can get number 9 back up this evening before 7 o'clock, we'll be fine. If not, we may load shed.
Well, a BEC manager tonight goes on record detailing a warning to executives at the power company prior to July's island-wide blackout. C.S. Adderley tells us more.
President of the Bahamas Electrical Utility Managerial Union, Clinton Minnis, says the major blackout that thousands of residents experienced back in July could have been avoided. He said he warned BEC's chairman Leslie Miller in early June, but he says Miller didn't listen.
We didn't put in place the contingency plan, meaning rental equipment, which were necessary. We've had it for the past several years, and the public believe in reliable supply. We know that the cost is high because of the fossil fuel, but if you have rental extra power available, you can mitigate against outages, load shedding, and what's not. So June 6, when I made mention of it, he had sufficient time, a month, to put in place resources by the end of June. He didn't, and things began to happen. And so the system is very tender now because of the blackout and because of the challenges we face.
Well, Miller fired back, saying that as chairman, it wouldn't make any sense for Minnis to make suggestions about putting a contingency plan in place to him, but rather he should do so to his supervisors.
How could it be anyone's fault at the corporation, especially the chairman, that has no day-to-day involvement in these things, that the blackout occurred because we didn't do what he told us to do? Well, does he not work for his superiors, who is directly responsible for the running and the management of that plant at Blue Hills as well as Clifton? I mean, how how does the chairman fit into the picture at all?
The union chief also sought to clear up misconceptions from those who may have placed the blame for the blackout on BEC's employees.
We are trying to be more corporately and socially responsible as unions. And what has happened is, right now we have the right, if we want to, based on the delay of our industrial agreement, to take a strike vote, have a walkout, have a sick out, whatever, but we are being more responsible. Can you imagine if we decide that we're going to take industrial action and the public is suffering even now? It's insensitive. So we want the public to understand that we have nothing to do with what's happening. Matter of fact, we're holding back because we understand what the country is going through because people didn't listen.
Minnis maintains that since that power outage, his relationship with the chairman has been much more cordial. Siaska Adderley is ZNS Network News.
Well, still to come tonight, the latest on the opening of Bar.
And Government League basketball in full swing. We've got the full highlights. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.